Here we have an HP laptop that came in for no power. Big Boss removed the back cover so I can do a quick visual inspection and see what's going on before he takes out the motherboard. And he told me that when the charger is plugged in, he does see an amber light on the side. I just want to confirm this. Not that I do not trust Big Boss, but I want to confirm it for myself. And we do see an orange light on the side of the laptop. An orange light is a good thing. An orange light means the laptop is accepting 19 volts and possibly charging the battery. That's what the orange light means. Now, if we press the power button, which is located on the side right here, it's not coming on. I have to hide my eyes because if I do not, the camera is focusing on the eyes. And it's not going to let go of the focus. Look, it's not going to let go of the focus unless I cover the eyes. Smart. Right now, the first thing I want to do is inspect the motherboard under a thermal camera just to see if there's anything obvious, any problematic heat spots or abnormal heat spots. Let's go over to our thermal camera. We do have the charger connected, and if I try to press on the power button, I do not see any heat spots on the board at all. The yellow stuff that you see on the board are just shiny objects, and they are not heat spots. So if I press the button or did not press the button, same thing. No obvious heat spots on the board. Right now, the first thing I want to check is the power button area. We have a daughter board right here, and the power button is soldered onto that daughter board. It's not part of the motherboard, so we can replace this whole board. I mean, I do feel the click when I press on the button, but I also notice the whole button is moving. We may have a problematic button, or the button may be good. How can we tell? I mean, how can we tell if that button is good or not? Or if this whole daughter board has a fault or not? We have to eliminate the fact that it could be the daughter board or the power button before we start inspecting the motherboard. Right now, we do see a tiny line labeled power 1. And we have a point right here. Why don't we test that point and see if we have any voltage there? I need to turn my multimeter on. And if we measure here, we should get 3.3 volts. And yeah, 3.29 volts. We do have voltage here. Why don't we short this tiny test point with ground and see what happens? If we have a faulty button, the laptop will turn on by shorting ground with this trace. If the laptop does not turn on, it means the problem is not the power button. Look at this. The fan is spinning and the laptop is on. Let me cover the username so we can save the world from complaints. The laptop is on. Right now, I'm going to ask Big Boss to disassemble this daughter board, the one that you see on the bottom here, and we're going to change the button that you see down on the bottom here. I'm going to have to locate a similar button to replace it with, but I do have a lot of donor boards, so I'm sure we can find a similar button. I'll be back. All right, so I looked at a lot of donor boards and I was not able to locate exactly the same button. All the buttons have 4 legs and they will not fit in this area. So we have 2 options. Option 1, we can order this button online. I need to go search for it and then we have to wait to get the button. Or option 2, we can try to see if we can work with this very same button. Maybe we can fix it. Look at this. Now that we are looking closer at the button, we do see that we have a problem. The button is broken. Maybe we can resolder that button. Let's see if that's possible. How do we remove the button without burning the button? We do not want to apply hot air because we're going to end up melting the plastic. Let's use low melt solder. Apply some here and some here, and then we should be able to easily remove the button. Let's apply low melt solder. And the button is already loose. Look at this. See, we have two ripped pads. We can tell because the ripped pads are stuck on the button. See, right here. And the 3.3 volt blob that you see here is actually connecting to that trace, and that trace is ripped. Right now, even if we buy a brand new button, it's not gonna work out because we have to fix this ripped trace. We're gonna grind this trace right here. Or we can simply run a wire all the way from here to here. But why run a very long wire? I have a 0.1 millimeter wire, and if we compare the wire with the trace is smaller. Hello, just a minute. Thank you, take care. Have a nice weekend. The mail woman just came in, picked up the mail. She's new to this route and to our store, and she's not used to picking up a lot of packages from stores. Right now I want to secure the trace by applying UV mask, and then we can pre-apply solder, and then we can solder the button. We have to get rid of whatever low melt solder is left on the board because low melt is used to desolder and not to solder. It's very weak, very brittle. So you do not use low melt to solder. And that's a question I constantly get from viewers. Can we use low melt to solder? No. Use it to desolder. Very nice. The wire is making a connection. Okay, and we're done. I'm gonna hand this board to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and I'll be back to finish the video. Okay, so Big Boss reassembled the board, and it's a no-go. It looks like the button is internally broken, and we will have to replace the whole button. The soldering is good, but the button is not working. I mean, right now, if we measure in continuity mode, let's place our black probe right here and red probe on this point right here. And then if we press the button, the meter is not beeping. Our switch is internally broken. I tried to do everything today, but what can you do? We have to wait a couple of days for the button. And that's it. We're going to end the video right here. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.